Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Throwaway Account. It's titled, My 54 female husband, 50 male, has been going to our neighbor, 34 female, for advice, and it makes me uncomfortable. My husband Jack has been spending a lot of time with our neighbor Sophie. It is worth noting that Jack and Sophie had an affair when she was 19. He was with his ex and she was with an ex-boyfriend at the time. Sophie is a widow as her husband died in 2021. Jack and I also married in 2021. Jack and Sophie remained friendly after their affair, partly because their daughters were and still are friends. They've been best friends since primary school. Jack and I have been having some issues in our marriage and we've been going to counseling for the past 6 months. I brought up in counseling that his friendship with Sophie makes me uncomfortable because he had previously had an affair with her. Jack argued that she is just a friend and that neither of them have those feelings anymore, nor is Sophie interested in having a romantic relationship because no one compares to her late husband. This is apparently something she has said to him after he suggested setting her up on a date with a younger co-worker who had expressed an interest in her. There's a lot of crossover between her job and his, which is part of the reason they remained close. In our last session, Jack admitted that he had been going to Sophie for her advice. He's been going to her to get advice on our relationship as well as an issue with his daughter. I understand because it is something that Sophie has experience with and she had a unique perspective that really did help him. The fact that they have been discussing our relationship, I don't feel comfortable with. Jack has been really dismissive about it, arguing that it's just the same as me going to my sister for advice. It's not the same. He had an affair with this woman. I recently saw Sophie in the local coffee shop and she was friendly with me, asking how I was doing and if my stepdaughter was doing better. I asked her if something was going on between her and Jack. She denied that anything was going on between her and Jack. I asked her to stop giving Jack advice because it's damaging our relationship. Sophie said that she wasn't going to stop giving her friend advice and that it wasn't her fault that I was insecure in my relationship, but that she doesn't see Jack as anything as a friend despite what I think. Sophie reiterated several times that she was just friends with Jack and that she isn't that troubled teenager who had an affair with a married man anymore, and that she didn't want to implode her life again. When I got home, I told Jack that I didn't want to see him see Sophie anymore. Jack argued with me, saying he wasn't going to stop seeing Sophie when nothing is going on between them. He offered to show me his text with Sophie, but I told him that I didn't trust him not to delete any text that he knew would upset me. Jack got frustrated and told me I was being ridiculous by accusing him of being deceitful. When his daughter came home, she was upset because Sophie had texted her daughter after our conversation and told her to come straight home, as she didn't want her daughter to get pulled into whatever is going on between Jack and I like she had been. His daughter was angry and accused me of ruining her friendship before storming up to her bedroom. So Jack is also angry with me about that. I'm just not sure what else to do. Is there anything I can do? The fact he is constantly going to a woman he had an affair with for advice is just making me feel uncomfortable, and nothing he does feels reassuring. So we're going to move on to the first part of the update, which says, we were meant to go to counseling session this morning. However, Jack had cancelled the session and any further sessions. Jack does not want to continue counseling as he has filed for divorce. He said it was something he had been considering for a while. Apparently, when he had gone to talk to Sophie the first time, it was to get a recommendation for a divorce lawyer, but she had tried to convince him that we just needed to work on our issues. Jack said that he told her that he had lost trust in me and nothing we did was fixing it. The way I've been acting over him and Sophie also cemented that to him. She gave him the name of a friend who was a divorce lawyer but told him that he was making a mistake. It turns out that when Sophie's daughter didn't come to our house as planned after school, it was because Jack had told Sophie that he had planned to tell me about the divorce that evening. He backed out on telling me after his daughter came home upset, not wanting to rock the boat with her. My conversation with Sophie was just the excuse she used. If I'm honest, I don't trust that nothing has been going on between them. The whole thing between them is weird, but my marriage is over, so what they do isn't my problem. I'm not going to fight to be with someone who lies to my face and states they don't trust me. But in the comments, OP quotes someone who says, honestly though, Was the fact that they stayed friends, not just acquaintances because of their daughters, not a giant red flag for you at the beginning of your relationship? I'm not at all blaming you for this, but how did you rationalize it to yourself before? Opie said no. I knew they were friendly before our relationship. I moved into the community just after the affair blew up. To start with, they were just people who would be polite to each other in the street, but as the girls got older, they started to have to interact more. They became friends. When Jack and I got together, Sophie pulled away from the friendship, but after her husband died, she reached out to Jack. When she reached out to Jack, I figured it was just Sophie's way of coping with her grief as her world fell apart and she would pull away again. Opie adds another comment which says, I wish I knew why he thinks that she can give some insights to our marriage. Part of me wondered if him going to her for advice is because he wants legal advice, but she works in criminal law, not family law. Sophie is able to relate to his daughter because they both have an eating disorder. She was able to help him navigate dealing with his daughter without pushing her away. If I bring Sophie up during our sessions, he shuts it down because to him, Sophie isn't the problem and threatens to stop going to the sessions. I knew they were friendly before our relationship. To start with, they were just people who'd be polite to each other in the street, and then OP adds the part which they included in the comment we just read. But then OP went on to post on the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, which was titled, Am I the Arsehole for telling my stepdaughter her friend's mum is the reason her dad and I are divorcing? And says, Jack and I are getting divorced after 2 years of marriage. Jack has 2 children, but this concerns his daughter, Ella, 15 female. The day Jack told me he wanted a divorce, we told the children after school. Ella was upset when she found out we are divorcing and went to her room. She came down after tea when it was just me and her in the house. Jack and his son had gone out. She asked me why her dad and I were getting a divorce and wanted to know if it was because of her. Ella has struggled with an eating disorder, and while it had caused some strain because we couldn't agree on how to help Ella, it is not the reason. I told Ella that she and her brother are not the reason for the divorce, but that her best friends, Imogen, 15 female, mum, Sophie, 34 female, is. Sophie and Jack had an affair when she was 19. When the affair was exposed, Sophie's life basically imploded, while Jack's pretty much remained the same. Just to state, Imogen is not Jack's daughter. They are friends now, but after the affair, they would just be polite in the street and became friendlier over the years as the girls became close friends at school. I told Ella that Jack's continued friendship with Sophie and the running to her for advice is why we're getting divorced. Ella asked if Jack was having an affair with Sophie. I told her that Jack was denying having an affair with Sophie again, but I suspected it. She asked what I meant by it again, so I told her that Sophie and Jack had an affair when Jack was married to her mum. Ella has not been speaking to Jack since our conversation. She has also lashed out at Imogen, telling her that her mum is a whore and is the reason her family is falling apart. They got into a physical fight at school which resulted in both Jack and Sophie getting called in to talk about it. In the meeting, Ella told them everything I told her the night before and blamed Sophie for ruining her family again. Jack told her that Sophie isn't the reason. Jack told Ella the reason for the divorce is because he no longer trusted me because of a mistake I had made which had sent us to therapy. Months of therapy weren't able to repair his trust in me. After Jack and Ella came home, she is now not talking to me either. Jack is furious that I said anything to Ella and that I ruined Ella's friendship with Imogen. Jack snapped that it was not my place to say anything to Ella. He was angry that I was still stuck on his friendship with Sophie and continues to maintain nothing is going on. He told me that Imogen told Sophie in the meeting that she wants to move to a new school where no one knows her mum is a whore and that was my fault. Am I the arsehole? Ella asked me for a reason and I told her. I do believe Sophie is the true reason as the relationship between them is weird. Someone asked for some info on this story. Numish said, info, what is the mistake that caused you to go to therapy? Opie says, I kissed another man on a night out with my sister and some friends. One of our friends told him before I was able to. It was a stupid mistake, but I'd been enjoying the attention after feeling neglected by Jack. Haunted Reader says, so you cheated, but then told his daughter that him cheating years earlier in a different relationship was the reason for the divorce. OP says, yes, I did. I've suspected it for a while that he and Sophie are in an affair. His relationship with her has made me uncomfortable, long before we started therapy. He runs to her for advice, including about our relationship. I did bring this up in therapy, but he has constantly denied anything going on between them. OP then adds one more update and says, this blew up more than I thought it would. Both Ella and her brother were aware of the kiss. They were there when Jack was told. I referred to it as a mistake, as that is what Jack refers to it as. He said that he didn't consider the kiss to be cheating because I was drunk. I've moved out of the house since I made this post and am now staying with my sister until I find a place of my own. At the weekend, Ella reached out to Imogen and apologized for lashing out at her at school. It looked like they've made up as Ella stayed at Imogen's over the weekend. Before she left, I apologized to Ella and told her that I shouldn't have dragged her into this. Ella told me that she would never forgive me, especially for damaging her friendship with Imogen, and is glad that her dad is divorcing me. I offered to pay for the girls to do something together, but Ella refused, saying she didn't want to take my dirty money. I apologized to Jack, who told me it was Sophie who needed the apology, not him, as it was her life I had tried to ruin without a shred of evidence. I tried telling him that I just didn't believe that he and Sophie wouldn't have an affair, and he snapped, telling me there is nothing going on with Sophie, and she had actually just started seeing someone. He found out about this because she went to him for advice, as he is the only person she knows who has also lost a spouse and dated again. He then told me that he wanted me to move out, as Ella told him that she wasn't going to return home while I was still here. So yeah, I've destroyed my relationship with Jack and his children because I was insecure. It's my own doing. I am the arsehole. Holy moly. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Haunting Chair 6880 and says, Am I the arsehole? My fiance's ex-wife would like to visit for the weekend and doesn't want me there. Months ago, my fiance asked me if I would ever consider allowing his ex-wife to visit because she misses the cat they used to share. A few weeks ago, he also asked what I would need to happen to be comfortable with her staying for the weekend. I asked him for notice so I can make sure things are tidy and there's a comfy place prepared for her to sleep. I also asked to, of course, meet her. I think that these are reasonable expectations for any house guest. A little about me. I have a demanding job that keeps me awake and working late at night during the week and at times on the weekends. I already know that this weekend is going to be a work from home situation and I'm already physically and mentally tired. Last night, my fiance told me that his ex-wife plans on arriving Friday evening, 2-day notice, and while she acknowledges that it's nice that I'm okay with her visiting, she would like confirmation that I will not be at home for the weekend because it's bad for her mental health to meet me and she just wants a weekend with the cat. My fiance suggested that we get a hotel and have a cute little weekend getaway while his ex-wife, who refused to meet me, stays in our home. I'm frustrated by this for several reasons. 1. I don't think how or where I spend my time on the weekend should be dictated by a person who refuses to make eye contact with me. 2. I just want to be comfy and in my own home while I'm reluctantly working on the weekend. 3. Why should money be spent on a hotel when the other party could simply acknowledge that I have a right to exist in my home? 4. The entitlement. My mental health can't handle meeting me. I'm absolutely mentally ill and I'm welcoming the woman who used to bang my fiance into our home with open arms and purchase new pillows and linens to make her more comfortable. I could also never imagine asking someone to leave their home for the weekend when they're admittedly doing me a favor. 5. This would not be a cute little weekend getaway. After work, do laundry and all the other chores one does during the weekend. I'd be sitting in a hotel room working and stressing over the loads of laundry that I could be making progress on if I was able to be at home. 6. I'm not comfortable leaving a stranger alone in my home. 7. What the fuck? My fiance is annoyed that I don't want to leave for the weekend because I have things to do around the house, and now his ex-wife is saying she might not come. He thinks the cat will be sad and thinks I should be okay with her staying alone in our house for the weekend. This woman hasn't attempted to see this cat in over 1.5 years. Am I the arsehole? Edit. I've shared this with my fiance and he feels that I've publicized his private life while leaving out the following material facts. This is the only cat he's had live for over 1 year. He gained custody of the cat after 3.5 years of being separated. His mother had a stroke and his ex-wife lives with his mother in case his mother has another stroke, and making him out to be the bad guy while he's been trying to mediate the issue. He also thinks I should get my own place. Additionally, I've been told she will not be coming this weekend. He's very angry with me. I was noping all the way through this. You moving out of your house so she can stay with a cat for a little bit? I was like, hell no. And I gotta admit, I did have a little chuckle to myself when he did say, like, the cat's going to be sad. And I was thinking, any cat that I've ever seen or known ain't gonna give two shiny shits. Just gave me flashbacks of an old cat we used to have called Simba, who was like a salmon color. Is that the color? Tomcat, and he had an attitude, man. And I could only respect it, you know. He'd let you stroke him for a little bit, but then he'd be like, "Fuck off, leave me alone." And you'd be walking down the hallway and you can see his head just peeping around the corner, and as you pass around, his claw would come around. It's like, oh Jesus. I loved his attitude. But anyway, I'm going off on you as usual on this one. This is totally weird behavior for me. That they'd even request that you leave the house. That I feel bad for anyone who's got mental health issues or whatever, but leaving your own house so they can spend time with a cat. I wouldn't be doing it. And it would leave me very, very suspicious about what else is going on. They're obviously talking in the background about this, about she's making these requests about wife leaving the house. She's not comfortable with her there. It's weird to even request that in itself. Imagine talking to one of your exes and saying, could you just get your wife or husband to move out for the weekend so I can come stay in your house and look after the cat? I mean, what the fuck? Gaining custody of the cat after 3.5 years of being separated. The ex-wife staying with the mother, which it sounds like is a caring situation, but you know, there's just a lot of questions in this one story. And I don't care how angry he is in this situation. If I was in your shoes, OP, I would not be allowing this, and I'd be, yeah, having some serious doubts in my head. But call me silly Sally says, not the arsehole. I'm bombastically side-eyeing your fiance. In quotes, he thinks that the cat will be sad and thinks I should be okay with her staying alone at our house for the weekend, and then says your fiance is just as suspicious as his ex. Something is going on and you need to figure it out. Lone Star says, what the hell did I just read? Your fiance's ex is cat shit crazy, and your fiance is not that far off. If he thinks any of this is normal or an acceptable request. Not the arsehole. If my man pulled a stunt like this, I'd tell him if he's so worried about her comfort, he can go and stay with her and take the cat and the rest of his stuff with him. Purple Star says she doesn't want to hang out with Cat. She wants to hang out with your fiance. Nope, nope, nope. Sadly, not only do you have an ex problem, you now have a fiance problem. He never should have suggested any of this, and I bet that once he has you ensconced in a hotel, she suddenly has an emergency at your house and he has to go see her. Nope, nope, nope. Shut this whole thing down and relegate your fiance to the spruced up guest room for the weekend. And Donkey Rhubarb says, not the arsehole. This all sounds a little weird, like I'm uncomfortable on your behalf. First off, the cat won't be sad. The cat won't have a clue that someone it hasn't seen for 18 months isn't going to make a surprise visit. That is one of the weirdest, lamest bullshit excuses I've ever heard. Secondly, why the hell do you have to leave your home for the weekend while a complete stranger gets comfy in your house? If she's so desperate to see the cat, she can get her own hotel room and arrange visiting times when you're at home, and it's convenient for you. Lastly, are you sure your fiance isn't still banging his ex-wife? And there was a lot of people going down that road as well. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.